Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video on my experience in the hospital getting an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. So the whole reason that I basically had to go to hospital for the endoscopy and the colonoscopy is because I had gone to the hospital it was basically for a routine check-up to do with another issue, and in the questionnaire they had basically asked me, do you have any issues with anything else? And I said, well, I had a bit of maybe constipation or some stomach issues, and they said, well, it's better off that we get that checked out for you. So I said, okay. And then when she said about the endoscopy, and I was like, what's that? And she was like, oh, it's where we put a camera right down your throat. And I was like, okay, I don't really want to do that, but I said, why not? I said, can't it be any harm? And then I was waiting a couple of months, and then it came in with all the papers of what had to be done basically for the procedure. So it wasn't a full colonoscopy, it was called a sigmoidoscopy. So it just goes basically straight up. So it doesn't go around to the small intestine or whatever it's called. It just goes up towards the large one, basically the one that goes straight up. So I had to get both of them done at the same time, one after the other. The one thing that I will say is I was very nervous because there were so many people at the time saying, they were giving me basically horror story examples of what they went through. They said it was horrendous. They said it was probably one of the worst things that they ever kind of went through in their life, and I was really freaked out by this. Before I wasn't freaked out, but now I definitely was, and I was really getting a lot of anxiety about it. And then the day was approaching closer and closer, and I was so nervous. It was ridiculous. So then, the day came to where I had to get the procedure done, both procedures. So what happens is you go into the waiting room. I did it in James's Hospital in Dublin, in Ireland, where I'm from. And you're put in the waiting room, you're put on a waiting list. It's basically just going to the hospital waiting for your ticket to be called. I was waiting a good hour or two to actually get seen, and then you're brought in by the nurse into the back. And I think I was waiting there a while. They take your weight, they take all of your measurements basically, and basically what they did with me first, so they were prepping me first of all for the sigmoidoscopy, which is the rectal exam with the camera. And so I was put in a white kind of a gown, and what they had to do was they have to come in and give you what they call it, to flush you out, basically a really, really strong laxative. So you go onto the bed, she asks you to kind of cock your leg up, and she basically has to, there's a small little kind of a tube, and what she has to do is basically insert into your anus and squeezes the stuff up, and it works within a few minutes. So then she left me in the room on my own. I had to stay in the same lying down position so that I wouldn't speak out. And then I had to, she left me in the room on my own for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I think after about maybe 5 minutes, I had just a real urgency to go to the toilet. So I was in my own private room. They had a little ensuite bathroom. So I went in there, and it just clears your head completely. It's really uncomfortable because it's like having a really big build-up of kind of gas and wind, and you just feel like an urge to just expel everything. So that was that. And then you're left waiting another while. I was actually waiting a while. Now the girl was really nice in the hospital. She was going through all the details. She was telling me, really put my mind at ease. She could tell that I was nervous and stuff, but I was only nervous because other people had kind of put a lot of kind of thoughts in my head and stuff. They do give you, they make it sound like a waiver, like, I don't know if it's a waiver if, if anything happens, if you die, like it's not their fault basically, so, so it's really kind of like that, so I had to sign it, obviously, didn't really have a choice. And then what did they do? So yeah, I signed all the forms, they leave you in there a while, and then you're called eventually kind of, up to the room. So nervous, and I was called into the room. I walked up, like they do give you the option of if you want to walk or lie in the bed. I said there's nothing wrong with the way I'm walking, so like I'm just gonna walk up to the actual room and I'll get on the bed myself and stuff. So I went into the room. The doctor was really, really nice. Earlier on, they had actually came and put the line in my arm and stuff, but apparently it wasn't done correctly. Surprise, surprise. So it had to be redone in the room. Now, the night before the day of the thing, the night before actually, I had to fast. And because it was such a long waiting time the next day, I had nothing in my stomach. I wasn't even allowed to drink or anything like that. So, when I got into the room, they had to redo the vein in my arm, but I got it done in my hands. But they were like, we can't find a vein, all your veins are really weak. So basically what happens is when you're dehydrated, your veins become thinner. So it's harder for them to get a vein. So they couldn't get the vein in my arm, so they had to get it in my hands. They just about managed to get the vein, but I do remember having to be redone about 2 times in the room, which was really, really annoying. Because it just kept stabbing my hand in different places. It was just ridiculous. So I got it done anyway. You're asked to lie on your sides. They put a shield kind of in your mouth, and basically it's a shield that has a hole in it for the camera to go through, but it's also so that you don't bite down on the actual tube and damage the actual camera itself, which is fair enough. What else? So yeah, they're just guiding you through it and stuff. They usually are really, really nice in the actual room, so they're just trying to put your mind at ease. They know people are anxious coming in. So I just lied on my side. I just surrendered to the experience, and I was like, this is gonna happen anyway, so it's nothing you can really do about it, so just accept it basically. So I did that anyway, and I lay down on my side. They put a guard in my mouth and stuff, so when they started to begin, I could see, I actually just closed my eyes. I didn't even want to see the hose, because I just had a vision of, I heard a lot of things online, it's the size of a hose pipe and stuff, and I was like, I just don't want to see that, because it would make me more anxious, and I thought my throat was actually going to close up and stuff, so I just decided it wasn't really a good idea to actually do that. So I had my eyes closed. I was like, just get it over, done with, don't really care. And then she was like, it's only going to be about 2 or 3 minutes. Now the stuff that they're putting in your arm, it's actually a sedative, so you're not put asleep, unfortunately. It is only something to basically relax you. I don't know how well it actually works, and I had read online that some people actually fall asleep during it, which I thought, oh brilliant. But I wasn't falling asleep, and that really kind of worried me and stuff at the time, so I was just getting really, really into my head and stuff, and I was getting really, really worried. So, but it was really kind of all for nothing. So I was getting it done, and I went down my throat, and they just said swallow, but I just remembered the advice that they had given me in the first place was to just take deep kind of calm breaths through your nose, and you can actually still breathe normally and stuff. So I think a lot of people think that's going to obstruct the airways and stuff, but it's literally like a tube, I'm trying to think what size it would be. It's like the size of a cable, maybe a little bit bigger. It's not really huge. It's kind of like a pen, a pencil, kind of a torch, that kind of a size. It's really, really small. But I think there's a lot of false information online about it being this huge garden hose type of a thing where you're going to be gagging so much. And when I went down, I was gagging a little bit. It's kind of like just, it's not really bad, it's not painful, it's not anything like that. So I took this sedative option. Now you can't just get the throat spray, but I was like, nope, I just want, even if it's just a sedative to help me relax, just give it to me. I just didn't want to, I just wanted the procedure to be as kind of like stress-free as possible, really. That's what I wanted. So it went down and stuff, and I think I must have blacked out at some time, because I remember it was going down and that was fine, and I was just breathing as it was kind of going down and stuff, and I didn't feel anything. It was just like, you know, if you stick a toothbrush to the back of your throat, that's the sensation you're getting. There's no pain with it. It's just an uncomfortable feeling of gagging a little bit. So you actually don't feel any pain whatsoever if you get the sedation. But then I must have like blacked out at some stage, because I just remember, you know, opening my eyes and they were saying, okay, nearly finished. So they were letting me know that the procedure was nearly finished. So it was a really, really quick thing. And then, but then obviously when they took it out, I was relieved. But then they were like, okay, so now we're going to do the Sigmoidoscopy, which is like the colonoscopy, but just in the large intestine. But at that stage, I was so groggy from the medication, the sedative, that I kind of didn't care. And it was just like, they just asked you to turn over to the other side, basically. And then they're putting the same camera that was down your throat, they're putting up your back passage. So luckily it wasn't the other way around. And so basically when they put that up, it went up pretty easy, because the stuff that they give you some lubricant that they put up, but you don't actually feel it. I think it's because I was so groggy from, you know, the endoscopy, the camera going down the throat, that I didn't even notice if, you know, it was going up the back passage. Like, it doesn't hurt or anything like that. I mean, it was fine. So I went straight up anyway, but when I went up to a certain point, it got a bit uncomfortable, and it wasn't pain. It was just like a really deep kind of a pressure or something like that, and I kind of like yelped a little bit. But it wasn't painful at all. Like, I don't know why I did that. Like, I think I was half asleep, my eyes were closed, and I was like, you know. So then he kind of took it out, but I think he was satisfied enough that he had gotten his samples. Like, what they do is they have like this tool thing that they have on the camera. It has like a tool that can snip little samples, like biopsies. And that's what they send off to the lab after the procedure's done. So they just went straight up to the top of the large intestine. They didn't go to the small intestine. I don't think they felt the need to. And, you know, they had the biopsies and they took it out. Then they just said, like, you know, they were finished. And then what they do is they wheel you back to the recovery area, where you're left there for a little while, and you have you're just left to kind of wake up from the sedative, basically, and then you are brought to the recovery suite, is what it's called. And then when they feel like you've come out of the sedative enough, maybe after like 40 minutes, an hour or something like this, you're brought to a little area where you sit down on a chair, and they bring you some, like a cup of tea, toast, just some sort of food and drink to go down, because you've been fasting basically for the last, I think it's 12 hours before, if I'm not mistaken. I can't actually quote that now. But I just remember feeling a lot of anxiety. I was actually relieved once it was over. Like, it wasn't the horrendous experience that I had envisaged. But it was basically only because of misinformation, a lot of scaremongering. I had YouTubed the procedure before, which I don't recommend, because I think it will just amplify anxiety in people. It's a really kind of a quick procedure. I know for men, the colonoscopy is something that has to be done a lot as they get older, because they have to check every, you know, now and again for colorectal cancer and stuff in men, or even with women, but I know it's more prevalent in men. So I had an okay experience with it. I actually had to go back this was back last year, like I think March last year or April, when I had the first procedure, and in January of this year, 2020, I actually had to get the procedure repeated, because what I had noticed was I had like, it was like a reflux kind of thing. What I was experiencing was basically, I was having a heartburn, and I was just feeling like a lot of reflux kind of coming up and down. So that's why they just said like, just to be on the safe side, they wanted to test for I forget the actual name of it, but it's something to do like, I can't even think of the name. It's to do with the esophagus anyway. I think it's the Barrett's esophagus, yeah, that's what it's called. So it's called Barrett's esophagus. So that's what they're kind of testing for. So what I had to, after the procedure, basically what they put me on was called PPI tablets. I think the actual medication was esbopressmin curca or something like this. I just said that name right because I can't say the name. But basically it's really helped with the reflux, and I haven't had anything, any heartburn since then. Originally I had gone in because I thought I was being tested basically to see was I celiac or something like this, because I had had a lot of IBS, related problems. I didn't know if I was a candidate for like Crohn's disease or something like this. So basically what I did was I went for the test for that reason, and I expected that was going to be the result. But apparently the results came back like negative, and which I found really bizarre because I do really have like IBS kind of symptoms and stuff, so go figure. So I don't know. But I didn't find anything worrying anyway. I'm still on those tablets. I have to take them every day. I'm not sure for how long. He said potentially for the rest of your life, but I have actually read somewhere that it's not advisable to take PPI tablets for a long, long time. So that's what I'm trying to think now. Was there anything else? Like, there was nothing else really, that kind of worried me. Like, I was worried about, I have read stuff online about, they can rupture something. That's always the risk with the surgery, that, basically they can damage something on the inside where they would have to keep you in the hospital basically to operate basically pretty much immediately if they do rupture anything. So luckily in both occasions I was absolutely fine. The second time, I just need to say, I only had the endoscopy. The second time I didn't have the sigmoidoscopy. They didn't feel a need to do that. I had problems with, up the back passage with bleeding and stuff, and I thought that they were going to say that I had, like hemorrhoids or something like this, but they couldn't find any at the time. Now I do suffer with them, even, now and again. It depends kind of what foods and if I'm having enough fibre in my diet. But they said they weren't active at the time where they had seen the actual the sigmoidoscopy footage on the camera at the time when I was getting it done. So they weren't active at the time, so they couldn't refer me on for any sort of surgery to have the hemorrhoids tied with a band or sutured off or something like this. So I was a bit annoyed about that because, I obviously do suffer from them, so I was hoping that they would actually do something in those regards to basically make it a bit better, but obviously not so. But what that said to me was they were triggered by foods and pressure when you're using the bathroom and stuff, and they weren't like, external ones or anything. Luckily they weren't ones that really caused me like, adversity in life, or I think some people have them so bad that like they can't sit down and stuff. So, but that was my experience anyway with the whole hospital and stuff. Hopefully I won't have to get any of those procedures done for a long time. I'm just here to really say, I meant to do this video like for such a long time, but I just really wanted to put people's minds at ease, to let them know that there's nothing to worry about if you're getting an endoscopy or a sigmoidoscopy or a colonoscopy. It's a painless procedure. I would always advise taking the sedation. Don't be a braveheart and just take the spray and think that you're just like a badass. Like, why would you? Just take the sedative. It makes your experience a bit easier. I do know from experiences with some people that they've just taken the spray and they say like never again. They would just always opt for the sedative. It does depend on your kind of tolerance. They did actually say to me in the hospital, they said like, you could have just taken the spray and you would have been fine, because I was so calm, because I do a lot of meditation. Obviously this is my channel, so I do a lot of meditation. I was really mentally prepared myself when I was going into the procedure that I was going to stay calm. I was actually meditating a bit in the room when I was waiting after I had gotten laxative and stuff. I was really mentally preparing myself for just a calm experience and stuff. So it was really a positive experience for me, I would say, and I would say that was mostly because of the mental state I had got myself into. I was just in a really calm, kind of a zen kind of a place. And when I had the camera going down my throat, I was really just breathing it out and stuff. And the more calm you are, the easier it goes down. Hence, the easier it is, the quicker the procedure is actually over, because they're able to go straight down, snip, and get whatever biopsies they need and straight back out. So it's something that you can really make better for yourself. I've never had a full colonoscopy, so I can't really comment and say what it's like to have it going through the small intestine. I would imagine that would be a little bit more uncomfortable. But again, they give you the sedative, and the worst that you're going to feel is like pressure in your stomach. Like, you're not going to feel pain. Like, they are pretty careful. Like, they have a really high-tech kind of a camera, and it has like a light on it. It has like a water on it, so your insides are kind of they're lubricated when the camera's actually going around, so there's nothing to worry about. So I just want to do that video. There's so much scaremongering going on YouTube, and I'm doing Google searches and stuff on all of these procedures. I'm a terrible person for doing, Googling or YouTubing kind of procedures before I actually get them done, and it's such a bad thing to do, because you can just work up yourself to so much like high anxiety before the actual procedure that you've actually amplified a bad experience in your head, even if you're going to have a positive one. So I'm just here to tell you, basically, just don't worry about it, get it done, because at the end of the day, it's better to be safe than sorry. If you do have anything like Crohn's or a cancer of the colon or anything like that, heaven forbid, it is better. The sooner you get it checked out, the sooner you can actually get diagnosed and be put on medication to help you live a happy, normal, healthy life. So that's it for my video. I do hope it has reached a lot of people that will actually find benefit from it, because I just know that I would have liked to have found a lot more videos like this online at the time when I was going for the surgery. So I wish you a very nice day, and best of luck with your procedure. Bye.